Trend number 4. Business owners are standing up to reviewers and review sites. While my prediction may come to pass, there isn't a lot we can do about negative reviews other than face them head on. So what does that look like in 2020? In the past, that advice would have sounded like this. Don't respond immediately. Give it some time so that your response isn't as emotional. Thank the reviewer for their time, apologize for the mistake, and offer to make it right. Basically, fall on the sword, even if it's unwarranted. Fix the problem and ask the reviewer to reconsider their review. This is still good advice if the review is based on a real mistake that your business made. But as we've already established, most negative reviews are unfair or at the very least biased in some way. Because we're trying to impress future readers, it's good advice to appear humble and eager to please. Maybe you've swallowed your pride and showed restraint and good manners to a reviewer who you knew was lying through their teeth, or at least misinterpreting how things actually went down. It's probably still good advice. Be nice is always good advice, right? While that may be true, the latest trend in online reputation management is made up of a little more sass. Rather than explain it to you, I'm going to share with you an example of how some business owners are dealing with fake and unfair reviews. This is for a local fast food chicken place. Worst mashed potatoes on the planet. And they mess up my order every time I go there. And if I could leave no stars, I would. And here's the owner's response. I'm sorry you don't like our smashed potatoes. Okay, don't you love an apology that's not an apology? That's like saying, I'm sorry you feel like you need an apology. Okay, that's just a pet peeve of mine. Back to the review. And that your order is messed up each time you eat here. Okay, by the way, each time you eat here, you'd think that if they didn't like the potatoes and their order was messed up every time, they would stop eating there. Okay, then he goes in for the kill. Your only other review is for McDonald's, which is your employer that you rate as 5 stars by saying, and this is an exact copy-paste, do not pay attention to these reviews. Half of them cannot spell or even use the right grammar. People do not understand that this McDonald's is understaffed. Yes, those are misspellings and grammar issues in their quote admonishing reviews with misspellings and grammar issues. They also don't understand the difficulty of running this establishment with only 2 people working and a full drive-thru and a full lobby. Guys, did you see that bus he just threw the reviewer in front of? He goes on to say how he always staffs his restaurant with 6 employees and he makes his food from scratch, basically using the rest of the review to actually promote his quality service and food. For the record, I am not advising you to do this, at least not like this. I read through several of his reviews, and he's great at pointing out how false or misguided the reviews are. But it's my view that he leaves future readers with a bad taste in their mouth. He's just a little too adversarial, in my opinion. I like that he stood up for himself, but in defending his business, he sounded, well, defensive. I think if you're going to do that, you have to walk a thin line between defensive and sarcastic and professional. Here's another example I think works better. This one is for a local dentist. Had a terrible experience here. I got a second opinion from another dentist and saved hundreds of dollars and didn't have to get an unnecessary procedure done. And here is our dentist's response. Because of this thorough and unrelenting review, we are now offering great service once again. Thank you, John Smith, for your review and for letting us know how terrible we are. We are strictly opposed to being terrible, so we held a staff meeting in which we discussed the terrible. You will be pleased to know that we now have a plan of action to not be terrible any longer. We have implemented new core values and office policies that should entirely eliminate the terrible. And if that wasn't spicy enough, they call out the fake elephant in the room while they're at it. Since we were unable to locate you as a patient in our system, we'll have to assume that you have reasons for wanting to remain anonymous. Witness protection, maybe? You weren't actually a real patient, maybe? Holy crud, they called them out there, didn't they? Anyway, we would like to compliment you on your choice of John Smith as a pseudonym. John Smith is one of our favorite historical figures. I mean, hello, Jamestown? He single-handedly saved the colony from devastation just like you saved us from devastating terrible. And just in case you're appalled by their lack of professionalism, they end the response with a courteous statement. In all seriousness, if you would like to contact us directly to share with us how we let you down, we really would like to learn more about your experience so that we can improve. Please call the office and ask to speak directly with me. Thank you. So, how does that make you feel? As a business owner, you might be jumping up and down, excited that she stood up to an unfair and unjustified review. But that's not really what I'm asking. Who is the most likely person to be reading this response? That's right, a person who is thinking about going to this dentist. Imagine you're that person and tell me how you feel about it. If you're like most people that I've asked, you think it's funny, and you maybe even find yourself drawn to this dentist because of her sense of humor. She just made herself stand out from all the other dentists that you're considering. Of course, you may not choose her for this reason alone. You want a good dentist, of course. You'll want to make sure the other reviews are decent and that she provides the service you need. But assuming she checks all the other boxes, doesn't this response make her more memorable at the very least? When you're ready to make a choice, might you say, I think I'll visit that dentist with the moxie? No, David, no one uses the word moxie. Okay, whatever, you know what I mean. It's certainly not going to hurt her business, is it? Unless maybe you don't have a sense of humor, in which case she probably doesn't want you as a patient anyway. Maybe this strategy isn't for you. Maybe you don't consider a tongue-in-cheek response enough of a punishment for people who abuse your online reputation. Maybe you want to take legal action. I'm not an attorney and will therefore not be dispensing legal advice. If you feel that you have a case, by all means find an attorney and go for it. However, that may be harder than you think because proving the financial repercussions of online defamation is incredibly challenging. In fact, I was recently contacted by a business owner who was seeking an expert in the field of online reputation to discuss how internet reviews can impact a business in a negative way. She told me that she was in the middle of a lawsuit pertaining to fraudulent Google reviews. One of her competitors had left multiple fake reviews of her business and another local competitor. She opened up a suit and her attorney subpoenaed Google. What they discovered was pretty black and white. The first few fake reviews were written by anonymous users whose backup information just so happened to be that of her competitor. Also, Google provided the IP addresses of the devices from which several of the reviews were written, and many of those devices matched up directly with her competitor's real-world street address. Other IP addresses turned out to be public devices like those at the local library. Now, I don't know about you, but I always make a trip to the local library to write reviews. This may sound encouraging to anyone who wants justice for misdeeds that impact their online reputation, but here's the deal. When she called me, she had been fighting this case for over 2 years, and that conversation took place several months ago. So this is a slow process. Yes, she got some of the fake reviews removed, but she hasn't been compensated for any kind of loss, and the competitor who wrote the fake reviews hasn't been punished. And that seems to be the norm. In fact, CNN recently reported that skincare brand Sunday Riley wrote fake Sephora reviews for almost 2 years. According to the FTC, employees of the company were ordered to write fake reviews and dislike negative ones in order to boost sales. A former employee blew the whistle on Sunday Riley and even provided emails as evidence of the conspiracy. The story goes on to say that Sunday Riley settled the case with the FTC, but that Sephora's attorneys were not happy with the settlement. Here's a direct quote from them. Today's proposed settlement includes no redress, no disgorgement, or ill-gotten gains, no notice to consumers, and no admission of wrongdoing. Sunday Riley and its CEO have clearly broken the law, and the commission has ordered that they not break the law again. Or said another way, you might have some luck getting fake reviews removed, but good luck getting paid back for monetary damages caused by said fake reviews, because how do you prove how much you lost? I have to just shake my head at this. Honestly, if the attorneys had seen all the stats I shared at the beginning of this presentation, maybe they'd realize the negative financial impact of those fake reviews. And at the end of the day, you have to decide which of these strategies makes the most sense for you. Be nice, fall on the sword, argue with the reviewer and defend yourself, fight back in a playful manner, or take your case to Judge Judy. It's up to you.